Imagine discovering that for more than 2 decades, the cast of The Green Mile has carried untold truths that completely transform how this legendary film is understood. Hidden stories so deeply buried that even the most devoted fans never uncovered them. These aren't ordinary behind-the-scenes facts. These are revelations that go far beyond trivia. This journey explores the extreme psychological conditioning that pushed actors to their limits, the mysterious spiritual moments that unfolded on set, the quiet incidents studios never wanted public, and the casting choices that nearly reshaped the entire movie. The Green Mile isn't just one of Stephen King's most emotionally powerful stories brought to the screen. It's a film where the boundary between performance and reality slowly dissolved for everyone involved. From Michael Clarke Duncan's personal spiritual awakening that reflected John Coffey's path, to strange on-set moments that left crew members feeling something unexplainable, the production became something more than filmmaking. As the curtain is pulled back, the way you see Paul Edgecombe's walk down the Green Mile will never feel the same again. You'll understand why certain scenes still move the cast to silence, why some moments remain too emotional to describe, and why this film feels less like a movie and more like a lived experience. Walking this path reveals what the cast has only recently been willing to share with the world, including the reality that Tom Hanks nearly walked away from the project entirely. Before any of these revelations, one crucial truth must be understood. The film itself nearly never reached theaters. Following the initial commercial failure of The Shawshank Redemption, which was once viewed as a box office disappointment, director Frank Darabont was hesitant to adapt another Stephen King prison story. What few people knew was that Tom Hanks himself had serious doubts about joining the project. In an interview years later, he admitted his concern over the 3-hour runtime and the emotional heaviness of a death row narrative, questioning whether audiences would endure such an experience. Everything changed when he read the final scene, John Coffey's quiet admission of exhaustion, and realized the story carried something extraordinary. Studios remained doubtful, pushing for runtime cuts and structural changes, but Hanks's involvement following Forrest Gump and Saving Private Ryan forced them to reconsider. Darabont ultimately refused to compromise, believing every minute carried emotional purpose. Cast members later confirmed that this decision preserved the soul of the story. Preparation for the film went far beyond traditional acting methods. Darabont introduced a psychological immersion technique that placed the entire cast inside the prison environment in total silence before filming began, positioning each actor in their character's role and forcing them to simply exist within the space. This ritual continued daily, with actors arriving early to remain in character in silence, carrying the emotional weight of death row into every scene. A fully operational electric chair, designed to simulate executions with disturbing realism, intensified the atmosphere, creating constant psychological tension on set. Michael Clarke Duncan's preparation went even deeper, studying hospital patients, observing vulnerability, fear, innocence, and wisdom to shape John Coffey's dual nature as both childlike and ancient. Each actor constructed full psychological histories for their characters that were never written into the script, but shaped every performance. Tom Hanks imagined Paul Edgecombe as a war veteran haunted by violence. Doug Hutchison modeled Percy's cruelty after a real childhood bully, and James Cromwell created a tragic backstory of personal loss to define his character's emotional core. These unseen character histories gave the performances a depth audiences could feel without ever being told. But the most unsettling stories come from what the cast describes as unexplainable spiritual experiences. During the healing scenes, the set would fall into silence, not out of professionalism, but because something intangible filled the space. Michael Clarke Duncan openly described feeling something beyond acting during these moments, while others acknowledged a presence they couldn't explain. Actors remained in character between takes, emotional boundaries blurred, and scenes required minimal direction because the performances felt guided by something deeper than script or technique. Many healing scenes were filmed in single takes because repeating them became emotionally overwhelming. What remains is a film layered with symbolism, meaning, and emotional weight that goes far beyond storytelling, a cinematic experience where belief, performance, and reality intertwined so closely that even the cast themselves struggled to separate them, turning The Green Mile into not just a masterpiece of cinema, but something that feels spiritual, transformative, and almost miraculous in its impact.